Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting right into something absolutely central to our lives: relationships.
hmm
We've looked at sources covering, well, what makes them healthy, how you spot an emotionally secure partner, and maybe most critically, how to see and understand narcissistic gaslighting, that destructive pattern.
It's so important.
Our mission here is really to give you a clear, sort of actionable guide for your emotional and social well being. We want to go deeper than just surface advice.
Yeah, understand the mechanics of connection, the good and the bad.
Exactly.
And look, this isn't just, theory. Relationships have a huge impact on our mental health, our stress,
Yeah.
even how long we live.
Really? Physical longevity, too.
Absolutely. So
Look.
understanding these dynamics, it's basic self-preservation. Once you get the structure of genuine connection, you instantly recognize what's draining you.
Okay, so let's start with that ideal structure then. The sources seem to agree there are about, 12 key traits?
Yeah, 12 characteristics that apply pretty much across the board. Romantic, friends, family.
All kinds of bonds, and they seem to fall into maybe three big categories, starting with the foundation.
The foundation has to be about safety. And that really kicks off with three core things: respect, honesty, and, well, fun.
Right. If you don't feel respected, it's already shaky.
Totally. And honesty builds that trust. And let's be real, if it's not fun, why are you even there?
Huh, fair point.
Yeah.
But those are almost the basics. The real work is in the logistics, right?
Exactly. The day-to-day stuff.
And communication tools seem huge here. The sources mentioned something I found fascinating: how texting messes things up.
Oh, yeah. Big time. Miscommunication happens so much more often when you default to text.
Because you lose the tone, the
No.
context,
Completely. You strip all that away, and suddenly misunderstandings pop up, even with the best intentions.
which connects straight into boundaries.
Yes. We talk about boundaries a lot. Sometimes people think of them as walls, but they're really just guidelines. Physical, emotional, mental lines.
Limits that people need to respect.
Non-negotiable limits,
Yeah.
ideally. And both people need to actually talk about what they want the relationship to look like, clearly.
And then there's consent. This seems broader than how we usually think about it.
It is. Most
Mhm.
people jump straight to sexual interactions, but the sources define it more widely. It's basically uncoerced permission.
Uncoerced permission to interact with someone's body or their life.
Exactly. So it matters just as much if you're sharing finances as it does with physical intimacy.
That definition of uncoerced is key then. Coercion isn't just force.
Not at all. Sometimes it's subtle. Pressure, maybe bargaining, using a power difference.
Holding something over someone to get what you want.
Right. And when you take that coercion out, you actually allow for a real connection to happen.
Okay, so that's communication, boundaries, consent. What's the third category? Seems to be about individual growth.
Yeah, growth within the partnership. And that starts with independence.
We're not supposed to just merge into one person.
Definitely not. It's vital to have your own time. Time for self-care, time with other friends, other people, maintaining a life outside the relationship.
That feels like a defense against isolation, too.
It's critical for that. If you don't have independence, you're much more vulnerable to control. A healthy relationship actually celebrates you having an outside life.
Whereas an unhealthy one tries to sort of monopolize your time.
Precisely.
And we have to mention responsibility, owning your mistakes.
Oh, absolutely. Look, everyone messes up. We all say things we regret. The difference is taking ownership.
Instead of blaming the other person.
Right. That's the pivot point. Do you build trust by owning it, or do you destroy trust by deflecting?
Which leads to something that sounds a bit counterintuitive: healthy conflict,
Yeah, people often think a good relationship means zero disagreements.
which is impossible.
Totally impossible. Conflict is normal. It's actually necessary for growth. The sources agree. The key is how you disagree.
Communication has to stay respectful, kind even.
Exactly. If it turns into attacking someone's character, that's destructive. That's not healthy conflict.
Okay, so that's the blueprint for healthy relationships in general. Now, let's narrow it down. How do we apply this to finding, say, an emotionally safe, mature, romantic partner?
Good transition.
Someone who accepts your, quote, true self, flaws included.
Yeah, we're really looking for maturity here. And the goal is what the sources call interdependency, not codependency.
What's the difference? Quickly.
Interdependency is that healthy reliance
Yeah.
where both people still have their own sense of self. Codependency. That's when your whole identity gets wrapped up in your partner,
And you end up constantly trying to change yourself just to please them.
which is exhausting and, frankly, not healthy at all.
So how do we spot this safe, interdependent person? The sources give 6 signs. Number 1.
Number one, you can trust them almost fully.
Almost fully. Why almost?
Well, trust has to be earned, right? It's not
Right.
automatic. But you need to reach a point where you're confident they genuinely have your best interests at heart.
And are faithful. Complete.
Yes, entirely faithful. That's baseline.
Okay. Number 2.
Number two, they're their own person. They have their own hobbies, interests, opinions.
So disagreements about music or food or whatever, that's
Uh,
okay.
It's healthy.
Yeah,
They shouldn't be a carbon copy of you. They should complement you, be their own individual.
makes sense. Number 3 is crucial. They respect your needs and boundaries.
We just talked about boundary, and here's the acid test. When you set one, how do they react?
Do they respect it without judging or criticizing?
Exactly. If they push back or make you feel bad for having the boundary, they're basically saying their comfort matters more than your safety. Big red flag.
Number 4, you feel safe voicing concerns.
This is fundamental. If you bring up a real issue, something bothering you,
Mm-hmm.
do they get defensive, shut down, or do they listen respectfully?
And actually take it on board. Show they're considering it.
Right. That shows emotional maturity.
Okay, number 5. This one surprised me a bit. They are happy to take things slow. Wait, isn't enthusiasm good? Why is rushing sometimes a bad sign?
It can be a tactic, specifically a tactic for isolation.
How so?
Well, that really intense rapid escalation, the love at first sight feeling, wanting to spend every single second together immediately, it can feel amazing, intoxicating even.
Sure.
But the sources warn that sometimes it's used to monopolize your time so quickly.
You get cut off from friends, family.
Before you even realize what's happening. A secure person respects your pace, respects your existing life. They don't need to consume it instantly.
Okay. It ties back to respecting independence. That makes sense. And finally, number 6.
Number 6, they take accountability. They own their mistakes. If they do something harmful, they acknowledge it and commit to working on it.
As opposed to someone who always plays the victim.
Exactly. That constant victim mentality is the opposite of accountability. And that contrast, it's actually the perfect pivot point.
Because when accountability is missing,
We often slide into really unhealthy territory, like destructive dynamic of narcissistic gaslighting,
which the sources clearly label as psychological abuse.
a chronic form of it, yes.
And narcissistic gaslighting. It's just so insidious, isn't it? Because its whole purpose is to make you doubt yourself.
Doubt your own reality, your memory, your thoughts. It fosters this deep self-doubt, confusion. It just erodes your sense of self-worth.
To really get the tactic, we probably need to understand the person using it. We don't need the whole clinical checklist for narcissistic personality disorder, but what are the key traits sources highlight in these relationships?
Well, the ones that really cause the damage tend to be things like an inflated sense of self-importance, a strong sense of entitlement, arrogance,
And the big one, lack of empathy.
a staggering lack of empathy, a real inability or unwillingness to connect with their partner's emotional state.
So why? Why do they do this? What's the actual purpose of gaslighting someone, of messing with their heads so systematically?
It usually serves a few purposes for the narcissist. First, it protects their ego, which is often incredibly fragile, believe it or not.
And it's deflection.
Yes, it's a way to avoid taking any responsibility. It also helps them maintain control and dominance in the relationship.
If you're constantly confused, you're less likely to challenge them.
Precisely. And sadly, yes, some sources do suggest that in certain cases, there's almost a sadistic element deriving pleasure from seeing the psychological impact they have.
That's chilling. So how do you know if it's happening to you? The signs seem like they'd be confusing, internal.
They often are. But one expert pointed out a really concrete sign. If you find yourself constantly needing to record conversations.
Or maybe texting a friend every detail just to confirm what was actually said.
Yes, because you genuinely don't trust your own memory anymore. That need for external proof, for someone else to validate your reality, that's a huge red flag.
It's a direct result of being told things like,
That never happened, or you're imagining things, or the classic, you're being too sensitive.
or even twisting it into fake concern like, I'm worried about you, you seem unwell.
Exactly. Weaponizing concern to undermine you further.
And the outcome for the person experiencing this.
They're constantly second-guessing themselves. They might find themselves apologizing over and over for things they didn't even do.
Just to keep the peace.
Right. And they end up feeling hopeless, maybe joyless, incompetent, like you're constantly walking on eggshells, but you don't even know where the shells are.
It sounds like a nightmare. And what makes it so hard to break free from this kind of trauma bond?
Well, a key reason is that it rarely starts this way. The abuse creeps in gradually. The sources often outline 3 stages.
3 stages of escalation.
Subtle stages, yeah. Stage 1 is the idealization stage. You might have heard it called love bombing.
Okay.
This is where the narcissist puts on their best show, showering you with attention, compliments, maybe gifts. You feel like you've met your soulmate.
But underneath?
Underneath, they're gathering data, learning your strengths, your weaknesses, your insecurities, information that unfortunately often gets used against you later.
Wow. Okay, so then comes stage 2.
Then the flip, the devaluation phase. It's like Dr. Jekyll turning into Mr. Hyde. Suddenly, they become cold, critical, dismissive.
Using harsh criticism, or maybe just denial, or the silent treatment.
All of the above. And the victim, who's still reeling from the idealization phase, gets desperate to win that back.
So they start blaming themselves, trying harder to please the abuser.
Exactly. Which ironically feeds the narcissist's need for control and admiration, what's sometimes called narcissistic supply.
And the final stage.
The discarding phase. By now, the victim is often quite isolated, full of self-doubt because of all the manipulation. The narcissist might become completely indifferent.
Shutting down any attempt to resolve conflict.
Often, yeah. Using silence or maybe escalating aggression until the victim just gives up trying. It's a really bleak picture.
It really is. But there has to be a path out. The sources talk about healing, about empowerment.
Absolutely. And the starting point, the absolute bedrock, according to every source, is a critical mindset shift. The abuse is a choice the narcissist makes. It is never, ever the victim's fault.
That has to be repeated. It's not your fault.
It's the foundation of recovery. It's incredibly hard not to internalize all that criticism, but you have to consciously fight back against that negative self-talk. Stop defining yourself by their chaos.
Okay, so mindset first. What about practical strategies?
A key one is creating space,
Yeah.
learning to stop reacting in the moment. The sources sometimes call the victim's triggered responses reactive defense, or even reactive abuse.
So recognizing the pattern, like, okay, they're using denial now, or that's projection.
Yes, once you can identify the tactic as it's happening, you gain a bit of power back. You can choose not to engage, not to give them the reaction they expect. That helps break the cycle.
And that leads to a specific technique mentioned, the gray rock technique.
Exactly. It's a powerful tool. When faced with manipulation or provocation, you consciously choose to give zero emotional reaction.
Become as interesting as a gray rock.
Pretty much. You state facts calmly, firmly, civilly, if necessary, but you offer no emotional fuel. No anger, no tears, no defensiveness. You starve them of the narcissistic supply they crave.
But that only works if you see the tactic coming, right?
Definitely. You need to have done that work of identifying their patterns first so you don't get blindsided and react instinctively.
And alongside managing interactions, there's reclaiming your identity. How do you do that after it's been so eroded?
Focus on self-awareness. Journaling comes up a lot. Specifically, writing down things you know are your strengths. Remembering past achievements.
Reminding yourself of your inherent worth.
Yes, and actively engaging in things that reinforce that. Social activities, physical ones, creative outlets, anything that demonstrates your capabilities and helps counteract those feelings of worthlessness.
Makes sense. Build yourself back up from the inside.
And then, perhaps the most crucial step for long-term healing, setting firm boundaries.
Which, in these situations, often means
Significant distance. Limiting contact, or in many cases, cutting off contact completely. Physical separation is usually necessary to truly break the abuse cycle and regain emotional equilibrium.
you can't really heal while you're still being exposed to the poison.
It's incredibly difficult, if not impossible.
So we started this whole deep dive talking about the basics: respect, safety, fun, the foundations of healthy connection. And we've ended up seeing what happens when that safety is just systematically destroyed, leaving someone feeling isolated, confused, invisible.
It's a stark contrast. Healthy relationships boost your well-being. These toxic dynamics drain you, diminish you.
The path forward, then, it seems, isn't about changing yourself to fit some impossible standard set by an unhealthy partner.
No, not at all. It's about focusing your energy on finding and nurturing connections with people who are mature, self-aware.
People who actually value you for who you are and respect your boundaries from the outset.
Precisely. And if you're struggling to tell the difference, if you feel lost in that confusion, getting help is vital. A therapist who understands narcissistic abuse or trauma can offer that crucial external perspective, that validation.
Okay, let's leave our listeners with a final thought, building on that need for external validation.
Right. Here's something to really consider. If you feel safer right now using a recording device, or maybe keeping meticulous notes in a journal, then you do simply voicing a concern directly to your partner.
If the tech feels safer than the person.
Yes. What does that realization tell you fundamentally about the foundation of your current relationship? And perhaps more importantly, who do you need to reach out to help you confirm and validate your own reality?